Hey everybody, welcome to the Journey More Often podcast series. My name is Gary Moore with Journey More Often, and I'm here to talk to you today about travel accessories. Yeah, we're going to go through just about everything on this table, but we're going to talk about what do you need to bring with you and what should you leave home. So that's a pretty important scenario if you think about it. Every time you leave to go on a trip, whether it's a weekend thing, it's an overnighter, or whether it's for like 3 weeks, you need to know what to bring with you and what not to bring with you, because that's pretty much as important. So the big takeaway that you're going to want to remember is you got to look at where you're going. You want to know what you're going to do when you get there and what the weather is going to be like when you get there as well. So those three things are key. That's things that we look out for. Weather's really important because, like when we went to Hawaii, you don't really need to look for like cold weather clothing. When I went to Kyrgyzstan in the winter in the mountains, cold weather clothing was a big deal, and I didn't take a bathing suit, obviously. So, let's talk about the accessories that we want to bring with us. First of all, charging accessories. Everybody probably at this point has an iPhone or a Samsung Galaxy, some sort of phone that you're going to take with you. So you're going to need to charge things. You may want to bring some other things to plug in. So when you're charging, you got to figure out, what is it that I want to take with me? We've kind of figured this thing out as we've gone to various trips in around the world, and the biggest one that I have is this. This has it fits in single outlet. And it creates a charging scenario where I can charge literally 5 things at once. So that's a big help, and it just fits right there. And I use this if I need another one, if I need another outlet. This is pretty sweet, and it actually rotates 180 degrees, gives me 3 different outlets, and it fits in a fairly small location between the wall and furniture if need be. So that's really, really helpful. Now let's talk about, sometimes you need an extension cord. Oh, by the way, I have this as well. This is kind of sweet. If I know exactly what I'm taking with me, it does the iWatch, it does the pods, and it does the phone here. So that's pretty sweet as well. When it comes to extension cords, sometimes in the socket doesn't work. You don't have a socket nearby, so you're going to need an extension cord. Some extension cords, this can take the place of what you just saw there, because this fits. It's also small. It fits close to the wall, and it has the USB ports with some extra outlets in it. Believe me, all around the world, it doesn't matter whether you're in the Europe or the US. People put the outlets in strange places. When we were in Switzerland back in May, we had 4 outlets in the room. One outlet was taken completely. There were 2 that had one thing plugged into them, and they were literally on the other side of the room from the bed. Then we had one next to the door where, what are you plugging in next to the door? So that's clearly probably for the maintenance people. But we had to use our extension cords, and and over there in Switzerland, you also need an adapter. Switzerland has the 3-pronged adapter, and this creates a scenario where you can just plug it in. Now, keep in mind, they have a different electrical scenario. They have 220 versus 120 here. So you just can't plug in your hairdryer. If you want to use it, that doesn't work. It'll blow it out. That's why they normally provide them for you over there. So, and that's a good thing. And if you're in the rest of Europe, the 2-prong scenario works really, really well. And that's why we have this with the outlets and the, the USB ports. We also have transformer if you want to use your hairdryer over there. Now, this is heavy, so we don't use this a whole lot unless we know we're going to absolutely need it. So this is a transformer, and what this does is it actually transforms the electric to the 120 that we have in the U.S., and that pretty much does it for all of the charging scenarios. Those are basically what you would consider necessary items. You're going to probably want to charge something. Let's talk about other necessary items. You want to talk about, and nowadays, you need your COVID test, because you need a COVID test to get home. They also have proctored COVID tests, but we ran into a scenario over in Switzerland where the software was, people had waited until, I guess, May to start traveling, and there were so many people online trying to access the proctored test that the website pretty much was crashed and we couldn't get on. So now this is an antigen test. This isn't official. So we had to go find, in Zurich, there was conveniently half a block from where we stayed, there was an actual lab that we could go to get our test done, and we had our results within emailed to us in less than a half an hour, which was pretty sweet because we were flying out the next day. That's another story altogether. If, when you're talking about sanitary conditions, you can buy yourself a UV light and use the UV light on your bed. You can usually, everything. You can UV the entire room if you want, and that's pretty sweet. For years before COVID started, I carried these things around. This is hand sanitizer, and it's very convenient because when you're traveling, you're touching all sorts of stuff, and it's good to keep your hands sanitized. Obviously, this is a spray hand sanitizer. This is actually pretty clutch when you if you end up going, because overseas again, you don't know how they're cleaning their bathrooms, but you can end up with athlete's foot, and that, believe it or not, actually works pretty well for athlete's foot. All right, let's move on to, and by the way, these are all just adapters. So let's talk about, water jugs. This is a pretty sweet water jug. This does not keep it cold. This just keeps water. Same thing with this. They're small. They're light, so you don't have to really worry about them that much. You just, you can pack them, you can use them, and it works out pretty well. Oh yeah, when we were in Switzerland, we did go to Germany for a little bit. Ended up caught short because I forgot to bring this thing with the adapter for the rest of Europe, and so we had to survive one USB thing, and we charged everything for like 2 days on that USB port. All right, let's talk about when you go to other countries, you go to in particular Europe, and now we're starting this in the U.S. You need a bag, or they charge you for one. And we're environment friendly, and we also don't want to pay for extra bags. So what we do is we take these bags with us. This bag in particular is a 16-liter bag. It's a pretty good sized backpack. So it fits, obviously, in this bag. You see how big the bag is. And, you can just pull it out. And the next thing you know, you've got yourself a backpack. And it's pretty sweet because, obviously, when you're done with it, you just put it back in the bag. So here it is. And, it has the straps in the back, and it has an extra pocket in the front in case you want to separate stuff out. But I've had as many, it's pretty strong too. I've had as many as 3 bottles of wine in it. Don't normally try to do that, but, it works. I have another one here. This one's a little bit bigger, but obviously it's a little bit bigger when it's packed as well. This is just a sling bag. Diane uses this a lot. It's pretty sweet. I've used it as well, in different places, and it works really well. And, we, for groceries, anything that you're buying in particular. So, oh yeah, earlier I talked about, wanting to know where you're going, and there's different things that you got to think about. So, these are blankets. This is a 3x6 blanket. This is a 6x10 blanket. We use this blanket when we're biking. So when we're biking, we often have our all our gear and our luggage and everything in the back of the SUV. So this covers everything, and when you look in, you don't see anything. You just see black. And it was like $20. We cover everything, and it definitely keeps things secure. This one is 3x6. You know, if you want to go out and have a small picnic, it fits 2 people. You can just kind of sit, in the grass, put it on a rock, do whatever you want with it. It's pretty sweet that way. Let's talk about security. So, I have a Merce. I'm not going to be ashamed to tell you that. I have a Merce, and it's actually pretty sweet. It has a really nice scenario where I can put this over my shoulder, and it doesn't. It fits, basically it fits over the shoulder, and it sits right here. So it's really hard to get to. The key with security and where you're at is to make it difficult for like pickpockets and stuff. When we were in London, Barcelona, Paris, there's pickpockets there, and you got to be careful with, how you have things available. So you want to make them as unavailable as you can. They'll go for the people who are just, out there and not protecting their stuff. So this has a huge room in here. Often keep my passport and, I've my World Health Organization card, which we talked about in travel documentation. That's part of the, keeping safe. And then, it fits phone here. So it fits everything that I need right here in this, and it's also incredibly secure. This is my faux wallet. I put this in the back. Okay, it looks like a real wallet. It has everything that you want in it, except everything's expired. My ID's expired. My American Express is expired. Everything's expired. So, once they take it, they're running away. They got what they wanted. They go and try and use it. And guess what? Nothing to use, folks. It is, it's a fake wallet. And that, I've had it for a while. Thankfully, it's never been stolen. But, on the other hand, you want to make sure that you keep things straight. All right, so let's talk about luggage scales. Luggage scale is important because when you go, we've often brought wine back. You can go on our website and you can see 5 ways to bring wine home. And, we've had wine in the luggage. We've had as much as 6 bottles each in luggage. We try not to do that, to be honest with you, because that's a lot of weight. Typically, I will leave, if we're going to a country where we know they have a lot of good wine, I will leave with my luggage at around 36, 37 pounds. And that gives me enough for 3 to 4 bottles of wine. But here's the deal. You don't want to have your luggage overstuffed on the way home. So, this fits in the strap or the handle. It fits in the handle. You hold it up. You weigh your luggage. Then you can adjust while you're in the hotel room instead of in the airport when you're, panicked at that point because everything, your whole life is out for everybody to see. We've been there, done that. So we got one of these. Sometimes if you find yourself, we've forgotten them. So sometimes, when you find yourselves without one, occasionally you'll find one at a hotel or, if you go to the hotel concierge, sometimes they have one. Somebody either left one or they have one. We've seen both and we've used both. So, the luggage scale, pretty sweet. I can tell you that for a fact. We love it. Let's talk about, how long you're going to be there. You're going to be there for a while. Then you're going to want to do some laundry. So we have this laundry bag, right? A laundry bag. You put a load of clothes in it. You take one of these sheets. They look like dryer sheets. Okay. You take one of these sheets and you put it in there. You put it in your put it inside the bag, and then you just, you wash your own clothes. So there's nibs inside. I don't know if you can see them. There's nibs inside here, and you can basically just scrub the clothes yourself. Then you rinse and scrub, rinse, scrub, rinse, scrub, and then just finally you just rinse it out. And then here's the key, though. You got to be able to dry your clothing. If you're in someplace in Europe, sometimes they have a washing machine, so you don't need this, but the washing sheets are good for that. But the problem that you have there is that you can't dry. Now, when we went to France, we had a place. We had it for 5 days. We decided we were going to do wash. We spent a few days in Luxembourg. We went to Orange. We had a great hotel in Orange, and we did wash. Now, the perfect thing there was that we had a towel dryer. So it was a towel heater. So we were able to put all the jeans and heavy stuff on the heater, and it actually dried them in 24 hours. So we didn't have to wait that long, and it was pretty sweet that we were able to make that happen. The other thing that you can do is, if you're not going to wash your clothes on the way, your journey, then you can take one of these sheets and actually put it in your luggage, and it actually helps your luggage to smell sweeter. Now, and then this is a clothesline. So you can actually hang this up. It's pretty sweet. It's pretty long. It's like 12 feet long, and you can hang it up as long as you've got something to connect to, like a shower curtain hanger. You're good to go. And some places they give you clotheslines in the bathtubs, where you're at. And you'll notice a lot of these things are small, they're compact, most of them are very light, and that's what we're looking for. We're looking to lighten it up, to small, make it small so that you can take the other stuff with you. Things like when we went to Hawaii, remember where you're going, what you're going to do when you get there, and the weather. So we were going to Hawaii, and we decided we wanted to hike on this particular trip. We went, I think, 6 to 7 trails on this one trip. We took trekking poles, and we took hiking boots. Now, that gets interesting because the hiking boots are actually pretty heavy. So you got to be careful with that, because if you put them in your stowaway luggage, that's part of your allowable weight. So, and they're very heavy. So, you got to choose, okay, what else am I taking with me? Fortunately, when you go to Hawaii, you're not taking heavy clothes anyway. When I went to Kyrgyzstan, I was taking heavy clothes. So that became problematic. How do you work that? Because all my clothes are heavy. I'm up in the mountains in the winter. So I've got to have heavy clothing. So now I have to look at, okay, how does that work? And how do I make that happen? Hawaii, not different, a lot different. You're looking bathing suits, t-shirts, flip-flops, and then your boots. So that went in the stowaway luggage pretty easily. What else went in the stowaway luggage was the trekking poles. Trekking poles they were absolutely necessary on at least 3 of our trails that we went on, and that's crazy, because if you think about it, okay, you're in Hawaii, most people go to the beach. We're up in the mountains, and we did some really great hiking. We did one hike that was 1.5 miles out. So from the trailhead to the end, it was 1.5 miles, but it was also a 1,750 elevation climb. So there's why we needed the boots and the trekking poles. That we had a blast. It was a ridge trail. You basically hike up to the top of the one ridge, then you hike along the top of the ridge, and then you meet another ridge. And at the other ridge, they're not at the same height; they're different in height. So we had to go up. It was 100 steps from the lower ridge to the upper ridge, but when you got up to the top of the upper ridge, you could see 3 valleys, and it was staggeringly beautiful. So, it was worth it for us to do that, but we had to, we had to do that. We were also covered in red mud when we got finished, and that looked pretty interesting because we're walking through the foyer of the hotel in red mud and hiking clothes. Everybody else is flip-flops, bathing suits, and T-shirts. So, we definitely got stared at a little bit, but you know what? We didn't really care because we had a blast doing that. Let's see. Is there anything else I want to talk about? I think I pretty much covered everything. So, everybody, thanks for joining us for this travel accessories discussion. We appreciate hanging out with us, and look for our upcoming podcasts. We're going to be on Spotify, Apple, YouTube, and you can also find the links to podcasts on our JourneyMoreOften.today. So until the next time, everybody, enjoy life and journey more often. Thanks.